appreciation, and thank you for opportunity to dive together into the ocean of nectar of Bhagavad Katha. Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kanja Vihara Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kanja Vihara Gopi Jana Vallabha Jagare Varadhare Gopi Jana Vallabha Jagare Varadhare Yashodanandana Jabraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Jabraja Janaranjana Munatira Vanachare Jakanja Vihare Munatira Vanachare Jakanja Vihare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Radha Madhava Jakanja Vihare Radha Madhava Jakanja Vihare Bhakti Jana Vallabha Jagiri Varadare Bhakti Jana Vallabha Jagiri Varadare Yashodanandana Jaya Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Jaya Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tiravanachare Jaya Kunja Vihare Jamuna Tiravanachare Jaya Kunja Vihare Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Maharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Harinam Sankirtanya ki, Srila Prabhupada Book Distribution Marathon ki, Gaur Premanande, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Dear Vaishnavas, devotees, guests, all assembled guests and Vaishnavas. Today we are continuing with the fourth canto of Bhagavatam, today which is the 22nd, yes? 22nd of November, and it is what? It is Wednesday, yes? 2017, still. The year comes to an end gloriously by marathon of book distribution of Srila Prabhupada. Haribo! The glories of Delhi Yatra, Delhi Temple, and book distribution is spreading throughout 3 worlds. Even at such lower planetary system as North Europe, where I'm come from. we admire and we always very much inspired by your results of book distribution. Very much. My service in ISKCON, my first service was printing Srila Prabhupada books underground. When there was any religious activity, any religious book was forbidden. And people were so hungry for spirituality. But officially it was so dangerous that it was, to be vegetarian was against the law. You couldn't be a vegetarian. My friend was taken to court because of being vegetarian at that time. Who can imagine that? But there was those times. So my first service was printing Bhagavad Gita underground. And we couldn't meet the demand. The demand was huge. Any book we printed was already sold before it was printed. Because it was a high demand. High. And only when ISKCON was registered in Soviet Union back in 1990, we could start printing books officially. So we were printing Bhagavad Gitas by millions. And devotees were distributing them wholesale by containers, not sets, containers. Bringing a container to the huge factory, and it was given to the employees as part of their salary. The book distributor was making a deal with the CEO, with the owner of the factory, that part of a salary will be paid by the book set. So everyone in the factory was getting, at the day of the salary, Prabhupada's set of the books. And yesterday, with Gopeshwar Prabhu, we tried for book distribution here in India. So yesterday I distributed 2,500 Bhagavad Gitas. It is so easy and so ecstatic. I try every year to participate in the book distribution marathon so that to inspire the younger generation of devotees who nowadays come to the temples. They have translated books. There are deities, there are katha, there are gurus, and still they complain. I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't like this sabji, I don't like this carpet, I don't like this, I don't like that. So I tell them that when I joined, there was no temple, no books, no gurus, no katha, nothing. But all what I had was my beads. And all my devotional service was just chanting on the beads. Bas. Nothing more. And nowadays, young boys and girls come and join, and still they find so many faults. This is not good, this is not good. I said, it's a shame on you. How can you complain? Just opposite, we have to appreciate what we got, what we inherited from Srila Prabhupada. So the story of Puranjana, which we are going to read now, is a wonderful illustration of the situation in the material world. When you don't learn the lesson of appreciation, when you don't learn the lesson of performing a sacrifice. Like Lord Krishna teaches Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita saying, Nayam loko styajagyasya kutonya kuru sattama. It's no way you can be happy without performing a sacrifice. No way. And it's 2-line Sloka, 431 in Bhagavad Gita. The shortest one in Bhagavad Gita. And it gives the formula of happiness. But instead, in this world, everyone has his own concept of happiness. Yes? Everyone has his own concept of achieving happiness through different wicked ways by hook or by crook, as Prabhupada says. But the rule is very simple. You want to be happy, perform sacrifice. And Lord Chaitanya, he described us, our sacrifice, Sankirtan Yagya. Yes. Harinam, Harinam, Harinamaiva Kevalam. Kalau nasteva, nasteva, nasteva. Gatiranyata. There is no other way. Just chant the holy name. Even in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna predicted, 5,000 years ago, he predicted, saying that the world becomes joyful upon hearing your holy name. Yes, Arjuna in 11th chapter, 36. He says that all over the world there will be Harinam. There will be Harinam. And those who are pious will appreciate that so much and join ISKCON. But those who are envious, demoniac, they flee away in fear. And Srila Prabhupada in the purport says that the demons, the atheistic ones, they can't stand, they can't appreciate, they cannot tolerate God being glorified. They can't. They're just so envious. Why? Why God is being glorified? Why not me? So they go straight, they are straight on the path to Patala Loka. But a devotee has no problem. He is eagerly glorifying Shishi, Radha Parthasarati, Gaurnitai, Sitaram, Lakshmana, Hanuman. He appreciates the association of devotees, isn't it? So many brahmacharis are so excited and happy. That means the temple is very strong. So devotees appreciate the association of sadhus, Vaishnavas. He serves his spiritual master by following his Vani. But the story of Puranjana just shows what a miserable life, what a pathetic situation is conditioned soul in this material world, being attached to the body until the last moment of life. How pathetic is that? Huh? To be attached to your last breath. So you are tormented and tortured by different enemies. So today we have Canto 5, chapter 28, Sloka number 12. And let's chant together. Tasyam sandahya manayam. Tasyam sandahya manayam. Sapora saparichadha. Sapora saparichadha. Kaustubika kutumbinya. Kautumbika kutumbinya. Upata piyata sanvayaha. Upata piyata sanvayaha. Please. Please chant. Ladies, can you see from so far? Tasyam, when that city, Sandahyamanayam, was ablaze, Saporaha, along with all the citizens, Saparichadha, along with all servants and followers, Kautumbika, the king having so many relatives, Kutumbinya, along with his wife, Upatapyata, began to suffer the heat of the fire. Sa-anvayaha, along with the descendants. Translation and purport of His Divine Grace is Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. So, dear Vaishnavas, please listen attentively. When the city was set ablaze, all the citizens and servants of the king, as well as all family members, sons, grandsons, wives, and other relatives, were within the fire. King Puranjanadas became very unhappy. So, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. There are many parts of the body, the senses, the limbs, the skin, the muscles, blood, marrow, etc. And all these are considered here figuratively as sons, grandsons, citizens, and dependents. When the body is attacked by the Vishnu Jvar, the fiery condition becomes so acute that sometimes one remains in a coma. This means that the body is in such severe pain that one becomes unconscious and cannot feel the miseries. Cannot feel the miseries taking place within the body. Indeed, the living entity becomes so helpless at the time of death that although unwilling, he is forced to give up the body and enter another. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that man may be scientific advancement. The man may be, by scientific advancement, improve a temporary living conditions, but he cannot avoid the pangs of birth, old age, disease, and death. These are under the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the agency of material nature. A foolish person cannot understand this simple fact. Now, people are very busy trying to find petroleum in the midst of the ocean. They're very anxious to make provisions for the future petroleum supply. But they do not make any attempts to ameliorate the conditions of birth, old age, disease, and death. Thus a person in ignorance, not knowing anything about his own future life, is certainly defeated in all his activities. Om Gyanti Mirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksharan Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitamena Bhutari Svayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vanchakalpatarvyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namanamaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivas Gaura Bhakti Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Tasyam Sandahyamanayam Sapura Saparichada Kaustubika Kutumbinya Utapa Pyata Sanvayaha. When the city was set ablaze, all the citizens and servants of the king, as well as all family members, sons, grandsons, wives, and other relatives, were within the fire. So King Puranjana thus became very unhappy. So this is an unfortunate situation of the conditioned living entity trying to squeeze all his life some enjoyment from it. So the biggest illusion in this material existence is to consider that a contact of sense organs with the sense objects is called pleasure. Your tongue, which is material, sense, organ, touches some sugar, candy, and considers, oh, how much happiness is there. But two things, can I get cartels? Two things, two material things, one and the other, touch each other, and the living entity who is by nature spiritual, but unfortunately illusioned by Mahamaya, thinks, how much pleasure is there. By skin, you touch some cloth, and you think, oh, silk, so nice. Well, what the soul has to do with anything in this world? Nothing. Nothing. So this way, illusioned and cheated living entity, conditioned living entity, considers to be the master of his body, of his dress, of his house, of his family, wife, children. He thinks that's me, and that's my. So this is like a pangs. This is like a prison in this concept, living entity being captured. Although it has nothing to do with the activity of the spirit soul and with the real identity of a living entity, still he is illusion thinking more money, more dress, bigger house, bigger family, and like that. So what waits for such a living entity is described in the story of Puranjana. Srila Prabhupada, in the first purpose of this chapter, he speaks about that a person attached to his home up till the last moment of his life, he is in a most unfortunate situation. He's in a most unfortunate situation. The person should actually renounce his activities, family activities, worldly activities, for the sake of the society. Yes, whole world. Preaching, yes, practicing himself the science of the soul. Practicing himself Krishna consciousness. For the sake of the society, because the young person already should be trained, Srila Prabhupada says, in the principles of brahmacharya. So while even being a family person, he should be renounced enough not to indulge himself into the activities of sense gratification. Srila Prabhupada says, more you indulge in sense gratification, more you will suffer in the second part of your life, old age. So Krishna says, it is not possible to be happy without performance the sacrifice. So family life is also sacrifice. It's also a sacrifice. It is a duty, performable duty also. But it should be treated as a sacrifice. So therefore we see that the one who fails to understand simple truth of life, you cannot be happy without performing sacrifice, you are doomed to suffer badly, madly, terribly in your old age. In the Bhagavatam, Lord Brahma declares, saying that even this body doesn't belong to you. It's a part of a material nature, and you've been granted or you got it. But if you use it in the service of the Lord, Sankirtan Yaga first of all, if you are not using, then you will be doomed to suffer. There is in one of the purports of Srila Prabhupada, he gives one Sloka from Mukundamala Stotra, very famous, very well-known Sloka by the devotees of the Kulashekar Maharaj. He's saying, Krishna Tvadiya Padapankaja Panjarantam Ajeva me Vishatumana Sarajahamsaha Prana Prayana Samaye Kapavata Pittayi Katavarodhana Vidho Smaranam Kutasthe. My dear Krishna, Maharaj, Kulashekar, he prays to the Lord, my dear Lord Krishna. Shishirada Partasarati. Please help me die immediately. Conditioned soul thinks, my dear God, let me live forever. He even comes to the church and he prays, please, Lord, help me to live longer. And the devotee says, please, Lord, let me give it up right away. So Kulashekar Maharaj says, please help me die immediately, so that the swan of my mind may be encircled by the stem of your lotus feet. Otherwise, at the time of my final breath, when my throat is choked up, how will it be possible for me to think of you? How it will be possible to chant your holy name when I will not be able to do anything? I remember a few years ago, at the age of 85, my father, he was in the hospital. And he was so miserable. And he was so miserable that he should lie on the bed. And whenever I come, he wanted me to facilitate with some, to give me something to eat. When I was visiting him at home, he was always very, very, very happy to meet me and to offer whatever to drink, to eat, whatever. But in the hospital, he can't do nothing. You're just bound to the bed and you can't do nothing. And he was so miserable. He said, now I am so weak. I am helpless. I can't go to the toilet myself even. I'm helpless. So he said, I'm useless. I'm good for nothing. And this is 85 years old. And he says, I thought that I performed so many important activities in my life. But now I can remember all my 85 years of life in 1 minute. Nothing important. Nothing. Yes, I was working, I had a family, I had a wife, I had children, And what? What did I achieve special? Everyone worked. Everyone had families. And what I have achieved? All my life I was performing my material duties. But now it doesn't give me any pleasure and solace. No pleasure. What? What I've achieved? I'm helpless in the bed and can do nothing. So I said, Father, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. You performed your duties, I became a devotee, and your next life will be wonderful. Don't worry. He couldn't understand what I'm talking about. He couldn't understand. What about next life? What's this next life? I said, Father, the soul is eternal. It takes birth again and again. So for your pious activity, you will be promoted. You will be promoted to the higher standards of life. Again, you will have parents. You will be a small kid. You will be petted, and everyone will be so excited about you, crying, peeing, and everything. Parents will be excited about you. So be calm. Just wait for a while until you take another birth. And if you perform devotional service, you'll get liberation. So he said, what does it mean? I said, let's chant together. And we chanted together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama. And I could see he immediately became pacified. When I was visiting, because of the doctor's sangha, he was very agitated, taking so much medicine, yes, and doctor's sangha. And the doctors, what they are thinking about the patients in the hospital, when he will die sooner. Yes. For them, it's a burden. A patient, old patient in the hospital, is a burden. So they think, oh, when he will die. So when you associate with such people, what type of mentality you have? So when we chanted with the Father, he immediately became peaceful. Immediately. He read Bhagavad Gita. He read, when I became a devotee, he have read Gita. Shishi Gauranitai ki, Shishi Partasarati ki, Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Shishi Gauranitai ki. So by chanting holy names, he gets used to it. And whenever I come to visit him in the hospital, he knows, now we will chant. Now we will chant this Hare Krishna. And he didn't understand philosophy much, but he appreciated that much. He appreciated me being a devotee. So he left his body very peacefully. And I believe he achieved higher realms of spiritual world. With your blessings. Yes. So, we see that the position of a devotee, he is acting for the benefit of the world. Half a year ago, I had a public program when I was preaching giving a talk to the CEOs of the companies. And after the program, one banker approached me. And I said, maybe you are interested in some of the books we had. And he took Bhagavad Gita. He took the Bhagavad Gita. He looked at Lord Krishna and said, I hope this book is not of Hare Krishnas. I said, what's wrong with Hare Krishnas? He said, they're very strange people. They walk the streets dressed in bed sheets. They beat the drums, make so much noise on the street, and sing ununderstandable words. I said, but do you know what they are doing, what they are singing? He said, no. I said, actually, they're performing activity for the benefit of all society. If you look at the faces of the people on the street, how they look, miserable and busy. Yeah, busy. Everyone is pursuing the objects of the senses. Everyone is searching for enjoyment. But that makes them miserable and stressed. But look at those boys who are dressed in the bed sheets. They're smiling and they're happy. So they are going around and purifying the ether, purifying the atmosphere. And people who come across with the Harinam, they smile. So they perform the activity for the benefit of the society, turning everyone into happies. Srila Prabhupada says, I came and hippies joined me. I made them happies. So devotees going on Harinams, on book distribution, make people happy. And I told that banker, and nobody pays them for that. So he could appreciate. Being a banker, he could appreciate because he knows that in order to achieve everything and anything in life, you have to pay. And those boys and girls go and perform biggest charitable work, distribute and deliver the holy name of the Lord. So he took Bhagavad Gita, I signed to him, and he could appreciate the book from Hare Krishnas. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Bhagavad Gita